I just want to welcome you all to today's session. It's really lovely to see so many of you here with us today to join us with Aman and Tabor, who are our colleagues from Sanjog, Pakistan. And we're also here with Fiona, who's our service manager here at CFAB. Yeah, I've kind of already stated that this session's longer than our usual sessions. So in order to get through as much of the content as possible, I'm going to hand over to Fiona straight away with one final reminder, if you could all just remain muted if possible. Thank you very much, and over to you, ladies.
Oh, hello. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Angela. So thank you for joining us for this Lunch and Learn on navigating cross-border social work with insights from Pakistan. So yes, my name is Fiona Robinson and I am one of the managers at CFAB, and I'm here with Tabor Javid, who is the director of our partner agency in Pakistan. And we also have Amran Cameron, who is a Pakistani trained social worker, also from our partner agency in Pakistan. And she has been completing kinship and parenting assessments in Pakistan for UK local authorities over the last 6 years. So we will learn a bit more from Tabor and Amran about the work they do for UK local authorities as part of the Lunch and Learn today. So my idea for this Lunch and Learn was to present the CFAB's partner agency in Pakistan and really the good work they do, and to think a little bit about the life experiences and the challenges for children and families in Pakistan, and to also consider the context of social work services and practice in Pakistan, and to really highlight the value of collaborating with locally based social workers in Pakistan to support your own casework with families in this region. And why is this relevant as a topic? Well, we know that over 37% of babies born in England and Wales, this is in 2000 and from 2003, 23, sorry, they have at least one parent born outside the UK, with Pakistan being the second most common country of birth for non-UK born mothers, and the third most common country of birth for non-UK born fathers. So as social workers, this means we're likely to be supporting Pakistani children and families, many of them who recently arrived in the UK may still have strong connections to Pakistan. So I guess we think it's important when we're working with these families to approach these cases with cultural awareness, with our using our social graces, but also applying this professional curiosity. And I hope that this session today sort of helps inform your practice in that respect. Just as an introduction, CFAB stands for Children and Families Across Borders. We are a registered charity in the UK, established in 1955, and we specialise in international social work cases that involves the UK and at least one other country, and involve those children who've been separated from their families across borders. So we provide social work case services for UK local authorities in other countries, such as Pakistan. We also deliver training, like we're doing here today, and we also advocate for children's rights and in policy making and matters relevant to international social work practice. We also have a number of projects supporting refugee and migrant families in the UK, but our core sort of long-term standing work has been arranging this cross-border casework services. And the way we do this is via the International Social Service Network, known as ISS, and CFAB is the UK representative of that network. And our partner agency here, Sanjog, the organisation that Tabor and Aman represent. They are from the Pakistani representative. They are the Pakistani representative of that network, of the ISS network. So we work together on cross-border cases in our own respective countries. And just to explain that this network consists of 140 countries, and we all work together voluntary. And the premise of the network is that locally based social workers are best placed to do practice in their country because they've got knowledge of the laws, the social context, and the culture of the country and the families that they're working with. They also have the legal right to work in and practice in this country, in their countries. So we don't send social workers abroad. For example, we wouldn't send a social worker to Pakistan to do an assessment. Instead, we would work with our partner agencies, and a social worker like Aman would provide the assessment on the request of a UK court or a UK local authority. I will now hand you over to Taiba, who will provide you with an introduction to Sanjog.
Thank you so much, Fiona. As Fiona has already introduced me, I am Taiba from Sanjog. Sanjog is a charity. We were established in 2006 and have been the ISS representative in Pakistan since 2016. Sanjog is staffed by 2 training managers, 4 sport workers, 4 social workers, 4 lawyers, and overseen by a director. And we have access to clinical psychologists and a network of solicitors across Pakistan. We have worked on 132 social work cases services to date, referred to us from across the world, although majority of them have been referred to us from the UK. Sanjog also provides training to staff in local statutory agencies across Pakistan, including those in the judiciary, prison, police, probation, and legal professions. On children's rights, we have offered free legal aid to juvenile in conflict with law. So far, we have provided legal assistance in 432 cases. I hope this provides you a bit of insight of who we are and our expertise. I'll hand you back, Fiona.
Okay. Thanks, Taiba. So I also wanted to talk a bit about the type of services that we offer local authorities. CFAB runs a free advice line. It's open from Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. each day, which members of the public, local authorities can contact us for advice on any cases with the international element, including any cases related to Pakistan. We also offer a number of specific case services in Pakistan. And so these are services that we provide jointly working together with our colleagues from Sanjog. And this involves, in some cases, we can pass on child protection concerns to the local statutory agencies in Pakistan. We can arrange welfare visits, and we can also arrange a number different types of assessments, parenting, kinship assessments, initial assessments to inform UK court proceedings, or your work with families who may have travelled to Pakistan. And if a local authority is looking to place a child with perhaps a family member in Pakistan, then we can arrange pre and post-placement visits, and we can link the families into local support services where they're available. So I'm now going to hand you back to Taiba, who will provide you with an introduction to Pakistan.
Thanks, Fiona. Here we have a brief introduction about Pakistan. Pakistan shares its border with Afghanistan, China, India, and Iran. It's a bit bigger than Turkey in land area and is made up of 4 provinces plus a capital territory and some federally administered tribal areas. The four provinces are Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Punjab, Sindh. Most of the cases we work on come from Punjab, especially Jhelum and Rawalpindi. But we are not limited to just those areas. We have official permission from Economic Affairs Division to work anywhere in Pakistan, supporting UK local authorities with the casework. There is some instability near the Pakistan-Afghanistan border, but because we have strong connections with the police, judiciary, and legal community, we are able to travel and work across the country without major issues. So next we have the demographics. Pakistan is the fifth most populous country in the world. However, a life expectancy here is relatively low, which is 66.4 years compared to the 81.9 years in the UK. This is mainly due to poor lifestyle choices, limited access to healthy food, and lack of awareness about nutrition, of course. However, people in rural areas tend to live longer than those in cities due to physical labor, especially farming, which keeps them active and healthy. And they also eat healthier and homegrown food. And one major challenge in Pakistan is the lack of enforcement regarding school enrollment. There is no strict mechanism to ensure children are enrolled in school at a set age, meaning that children may not be accessing education or maybe accessing education late. When it comes to crime rate, Pakistan actually fares better than the global average. A strong sense of community plays a big role. Neighbors look out for each other's belonging as if their own. Next, many languages are spoken in Pakistan. However, Urdu is a main lingua franca. While the Sanjog team can speak some of the languages, we do on occasion need to use interpreters. It is also important to consider that Pakistan also has a large refugee population, particularly from Afghanistan. This refugee population do not have same legal rights to access government services and support as Pakistani nationals. Their rights to access certain services can vary depending on the type of documentation they hold and the region they are residing in. In terms of religion, I am sure many of you are aware that Islam plays a significant role in shaping the principles, practices, and daily lives of people in Pakistan. It also deeply influences family culture and societal norms, as well as the law. One significant point to consider in the differences in living standards between the UK and Pakistan. According to the World Bank, the lower middle income poverty line is defined as earning less than US dollar 3.65 per day, and 40% of the population falls in Pakistan, unfortunately, under this category. Another example of the differences in living standards is access to safe drinking water or lack of access to it for many, as shown here. Here we have a composition of families in Pakistan. The family structure is typically extended or joint, with a household often consisting of multiple generations. It's a common for children to live with their grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. This often means that our social workers are conducting assessments on a large family groups. However, we can say that these large family systems are more common in rural and semi-urban areas, while nuclear families are more typical in larger cities. Single parent families are rare in Pakistan, as divorce rates are relatively low. Additionally, children born out of wedlock face a significant societal stigma, as it is viewed as a sin. Um, in some cases, these children are at risk of being abandoned or even killed at birth. Here we have family values. Some key points to consider are that in urban or larger cities, female family members are often involved in major household decision making. However, in semi-urban and rural areas, most significant decisions are typically made by the fathers or elder male in the household. We can say that female family members are primarily responsible for household duties, including the care task for children. One point to consider is that in particularly hygiene-related tasks for female children are generally carried out by the mothers or other female family members. Islam, as I already told you, plays a significant role in shaping family values, relationships, and responsibilities. There is a strong emphasis on kinship, hospitality, and collective well-being, which is reflected in how family are structured and interact. Arranged marriages are common. For example, cousin marriages are common in the community. Children in Pakistan faces numerous challenges, with gender discrimination being a major issue with girls, particularly in rural and conservative areas, often facing fewer opportunities and unequal treatment compared to boys. Um, a UNICEF report published in 2020 highlighted that the 18% of girls in Pakistan are married before the age of 18. Largely due to traditional gender roles and expectation. Additionally, girls are less likely to receive an education than boys. Children in Pakistan also face numerous challenges in relation to domestic violence, corporal punishment, and gender discrimination. Domestic violence and abuse within the home are prevalent issues, though comprehensive national though the comprehensive national statistics on the extent of physical violence against children in domestic settings are limited. Another critical issue to consider is that there is a high number of unregistered births in Pakistan, as there is no robust system to enforce birth registration laws. Amongst other challenges, without proper registration, children cannot legally prove their age in the court, which complicates their ability to defend their case under the juvenile justice system, under the Juvenile Justice System Act. Lastly, a quite disturbing trend is the continued prevalence of which is honor killing in Pakistan. The Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, which is known as HRCP, reported that in 2024, honor crimes remained a significant issue, particularly in Sindh and in Punjab. So now I am handing it over to Aman for the further information.
Thank you, Taiba. Hello, everyone. My name is Aman Kamran. I work as a social worker with Sanjog, as Fiona has already introduced me. So we're going to talk about social work education and practice in Pakistan. So social work education started in early 1950s in Pakistan, with a significant emphasis on medical social work at a time when the government of Pakistan sought assistance from the United Nations to develop social welfare program. The degree structure includes four-year bachelor's program and a master's program that typically lasts between 1 to 1.5 years. Currently, approximately 27 universities offer bachelor's degree in social work, while 21 institutions provide master's program as well. These programs primarily focus on theoretical knowledge with limited emphasis on practical field work. The curriculum covers areas such as social welfare, community development, sociology, psychology, and human rights. There are no official statistics on the number of practicing social workers who had a formal social work degree. Um, and next, social work in Pakistan. As a social worker in Pakistan, we work with and support different client groups such as minorities, the poor, destitute, and homeless, victims of acid burn, and others shown here. Um, in Pakistan, most social workers work for charitable organizations to offer support and protection to these client groups rather than the government sector. And a Child Protection Bureau, we have a Child Protection Bureau. We do have statutory agencies to support and safeguard children, while the Social Welfare Department in Pakistan that works on broad welfare initiatives. The Child Protection Welfare Bureau focuses on destitute children and children at risk of harm. The provinces of Punjab and Sindh and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa have dedicated child protection and welfare bureaus. In the case of Punjab, the Child Protection and Welfare Bureau was established in 2004. This is the bureau that we are most likely to have contact with, as most of our cases from UK are in the Punjab region. This bureau operates under the Home Department of the Government of Punjab and provides care and protection as well as education and training to destitute children. It also safeguards and supports children at risk or at imminent risk of significant harm, although interventions are limited to when children are in parental care. It is also important to consider that thresholds for intervention will differ from the UK, given the context of and challenges facing children and families in Pakistan, as well as the limited resources available to support these services in Pakistan. Laws to protect children. There are laws to protecting children, such as the Punjab Destitute and Neglected Children Act, Domestic Violence Act, the Punjab Protection of Women Against Violence Act, and the Zainab Alert Response and Recovery Act 2020. We've had it hyperlinks for you all to access these laws if you want to go through them in details. The Punjab Destitute and Neglected Children Act states that the Child Protection Bureau can conduct investigations in the collaboration with police. However, due to limited resources, such investigations would likely to be carried out on a restricted scale. Police lead on investigating serious cases of child abuse and neglect, referring victims to protection centers or the courts. It is our experience that the cases are reported, investigations can be slowed down due to lack of resources. Shelters and protection mechanisms for abused children are limited. Okay, I'll hand it back to Fiona.
Thank you, Aman. So you might be thinking, how does CFAB and Sanjog how do we work together and provide UK local authorities with these cross-border services? Well, there is certain criteria for us to accept a case. Some of this criteria will be obvious. It's a case that involves the UK and Pakistan. It needs to pertain to a child, but it's also really important that we know the location of the family. There's no real means for Sanjog to easily trace family members in Pakistan. And there also needs to be a legal basis for intervention if we're asked to arrange an assessment of a family member, for example. And what I mean by this is that Sanjog can't just knock on a family's door and ask to do an assessment. They're a charity, they don't have statutory powers. So the families who they work with need to consent to any intervention. If the family does not consent to a Sanjog social worker visiting or seeing a child, for example, Sanjog could make a request to the Child Protection Bureau in Punjab, for example, or the police, but not knowing what action they would take, not knowing if the case would be responded to, and if the concerns reported by the UK local authority meets the thresholds for intervention or not. In terms of partnership working between CFAB and Sanjog, how it works is if you're a social worker or you're a solicitor and you require a service from us, like an assessment or a welfare visit, or you wish to share safeguarding concerns, you can contact the CFAB advice line for assistance, or you can email us or call us, and we can talk you through the case. We can explain what we can offer, provide you with a quote, and send you out a referral form. All referrals that we receive from local authorities, they're reviewed by a CFAB worker before we send them to Sanjog, and we help Sanjog to understand the UK specific requirements. So we'll have case discussions with Sanjog, but the Sanjog social worker completes the visit, writes up their assessment, and CFAB will quality assure that report before it's submitted to the UK local authority. So I hope this gives you some insight on how we work together. I'm now going to hand you back to Amman.
Thank you, Fiona. So as Fiona just mentioned, the process, how the assessments are referred to us as Sanjog. So when the cases and assessments are officially assigned to social workers, they will contact the respective or concerned family to arrange a visit. And when we make contact, in these cases, the gender hierarchy plays a role, with the men in the family household wanting to lead the coordination with the social worker instead of women, as a matter of routine. Reaching these families can be challenging, as travel often involves long distances, sometimes requiring a 7-8 hour journey one way. Many of these locations are in a remote rural areas of Pakistan, with limited infrastructure, including poor or non-existent internet connectivity, inadequate roads, and a lack of nearby accommodations. Most of these families are living in multi-generational houses. This means I am interviewing and assessing a large household group, sometimes up to 10, 12 people living in the same household. As you can imagine, the assessment can sometimes be a very long, as we try to provide all the details that the court in the UK might need. Another key challenge during these assessments is that most families are unfamiliar with the role of social workers, particularly as it is understood in the UK. And the lack of awareness often leads to hesitation. Building trust and explaining our role in a culturally sensitive manner is really essential to seek the engagement of family members and the information we need to provide robust and evidence-based assessments. There are also some differences in childcare practices between Pakistan and the UK. For example, adults in the home often sleep in the same bed as children up until they reach the age of 12. This is done because it is viewed to offer the child with protection and helps to create a stronger attachment with their caregiver. We always provide cultural notes with our assessments to, explain these type of differences. Usually, local authorities would request us to provide all the supporting documents of these assessments. And I've personally experienced challenges in obtaining these from the family members, such as, for example, police checks. As women usually don't go to the police stations because it is considered culturally inappropriate in Pakistan, especially the rural areas we're talking about, and can even be seen as a question of the woman's honor. It is also challenging to obtain bank statements, as most of people run their businesses on a cash-based site to avoid taxes, and therefore they don't have mainly bank account statements available to provide as a supporting document. Back to Fiona.
Thank you, Aman. So now we're just going to talk briefly about whether we can assist in safeguarding or child protection cases. And the answer is sometimes, but not always. And that's because Sanjog does not have any statutory powers. So if you are dealing with a safeguarding or child protection matter involving a child in Pakistan, or perhaps a child that's been taken to Pakistan, here's some actions you might want to consider. You could report it to the police in the UK if it is a child that's in imminent and very significant risk of harm. And if it meets thresholds, potentially that information could be shared with police in Pakistan. Of course, we would always say contact CFAB, and we can assist depending on the specific case issues. You can also report the concerns to the embassy of the child's nationality, so they might identify the child and offer support to the child and family if they present at the embassy. If the child is British, then we ask that you share the concerns with the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, and they can share them with the British Embassy in Pakistan. And the British Embassy in Pakistan, they have a lot of experience of working with British nationals in Pakistan. So it is something that we would always really encourage you to do. You can also make a port alert. So this means that there'll be a marker on the family if they return to the UK, in order that they are stopped at the border, and your local authority can be informed. We would also suggest seeking legal advice. There may be a legal basis for making an application for wardship for a child that's been abducted from the UK, or other measures under what's called the UK-Pakistan Protocol on Child Protection Matters. And this is a non-binding agreement between judiciaries of Pakistan and the UK, and applies in cases of international child abduction. There might also be other protection measures that can be taken if an application is made directly to a Pakistani court. So we would really advise you to seek specialist legal advice in such cases from a family lawyer that has experience in managing these very complex cross-border cases. What CFAB can offer is that we can pass on child protection concerns potentially to the Child Welfare Bureau or the police if there's imminent and significant risk, but not knowing if and what actions they may take. CFAB does also, we really encourage local authorities to consider before referring to us that the way a foreign authority may manage or respond to a child protection matter may be very different from the UK, and really careful consideration must be given to sharing any information with any foreign authority, not just in reference to Pakistan. In some instances, we can arrange for a Sanjog social worker such as Aman to visit a child in Pakistan with the consent of the caregivers. This will be case dependent, and it would likely be if the case does not meet those thresholds for intervention by statutory agencies, and making sure it's also safe for Sanjog social work to visit. Sanjog could then potentially provide ongoing support or try to identify charities, a local charity that might be able to support the child and family. Back to you, Aman, for the case study.
Okay, thanks, Fiona. So I'm going to be presented, sorry, one second. Okay. This is a case study where we were asked by CFAB to arrange an assessment of a father in Pakistan. We have anonymized this case, but we do in fact have the consent of the family to speak about their case in order to promote the work we've done. So the background of the case is that the mother arrived in the UK from Pakistan 7 months pregnant, and her passport stated that she was a 15 years old. She stopped at border and placed in local authority care given. The age stated in her passport raised concerns that she was traveling on her own and pregnant. After the child is born, mother and child are placed in a mother and baby foster placement. Local authority issues care proceedings, and the child is made subject to an interim care order. A professional working with the family reports concerns that the father is controlling and has been verbally abusive on the phone, and passes on concerns to the social worker, suggesting that father was possibly also misusing substances. The local authority is concerned that the mother's age is not correct and completes an age assessment, at which point the mother is believed to be 19 years old. The local authority remains concerned, however, that the father poses a risk to the child and mother, and we are requested to complete a parenting assessment. So Sanjog completes an assessment on the father. It was a 38-page report based on interviews with the family members. The worker also interviewed references, this being the neighbors with the father's consent. The report include copies of families' ID documents, photographs of the home, police checks, medical and marriage certificate, and business records. Um, some of the main concerns were that father and mother were first-time parents having no experience of raising a child, although did have other family members in the home who could support them. The home was crowded, but this is not unusual in as most Pakistani families in rural areas live in a joint family system. The father denied shouting at the mother, although professional reported otherwise, and he also denied that he was controlling. This required careful exploration as part of the assessment. It was also noted that father had completed limited schooling. There were, however, other family members in the home who could support them with their child's educational needs. We further noted that mother's birth certificate did not correctly annotate her date of birth and had said she was younger than what she was. This is not unusual in Pakistan, as we have explained. Many children do not have birth certificates and only seek them when they require to enroll in school or intend to marry, and their date of birth are incorrectly registered at that point. Strengths. While there were some limitations, there were a number of positive strengths, like the father expressed love for his child and wife. The parents had purchased belongings such as clothing, coat for the child. The parents would be supported by the family members living in the household. The father confirmed that he did not use any form of drugs or alcohol. There was nothing in the home or his presentation to suggest that he used drugs. He was willing to undergo testing as well if that was necessary. The father evidenced how he and his wife would make decisions jointly on key matters, which was supported by interviews with neighbors and the other family members living in the same household. This is actually rare in Pakistani households, especially in the rural areas where men are often the decision makers. Very importantly, the father also reflected on how he engaged with the mother and other professionals in the UK, noting that he was stressed at that time, fearing losing his child, but after further reflection, felt he could have handled the situation better. Um, Considering all the strengths in the assessor's professional opinion, the father had demonstrated his suitability and capacity to care for his daughter in Pakistan with the support of a family network. Um, Also, the outcome was that the child returned to the UK, to the family home in the Pakistan with mother. Local authority asked CFAB to arrange a post-placement visit and provide a report back. A visit was completed by Sanjog, and there were no concerns reported after that. Hope this gives you some insight of the case study that I share. Handing it back to Fiona.
Thank you. Okay. See if I can do this. So, here are some of our key sort of takeaways and messages that we have touched on today. We want you to just think about maybe how demographic factors shape the interventions alongside the needs and challenges for children, and consider that child protection services in Pakistan are very limited in terms of the statutory services, particularly for children in parental care. And that Sanjog social workers in Pakistan need to work on the basis of consent, but also to really sort of encourage you to consider using locally based social workers, such as our social workers from Sanjog, to provide support on your cases. As a final point, do want to bring to your attention that CFAB has created some guides for social workers, introduce them to the history and culture of the families in diasporas communities in the UK. We've just now published the one for Pakistan, and that can be found on our website. So please do look out for it. And thank you for joining us today. I don't believe we've left a lot of time left for questions. I think we've got a couple of minutes. Angela, do we have time for any questions?
There are a couple of minutes remaining. Someone's just asked how old was the father in the case study? Did we know that?
I probably can't remember it offhand.
Aman, can we remember?
He was above 22 of age. I don't remember exactly how old he was, but I remember he was above 22 years of age. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I think someone's just said that the mum was 15, but she wasn't, was she? I think she was just her document stated she was 15, but actually she was 19, I believe. Was it she was determined to be? Yeah.
I guess Taiba Mama could probably explain this a little bit more, but the issue of birth certificates in Pakistan is that the incentive from governments to register.
Because there is no mechanism to register a child at the time of birth. So usually in most of the cases, people are from rural or semi-urban areas, are often having inaccurate ages, because they register.
Taiba's dropping out. Taiba's dropping out there.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you again now. I think the problem is, let me quickly try to explain that there's a government incentive for people to register their children by a certain age, and when they register the children, when people registered are very late. Some families sometimes say they're younger than what they are. So that leads to incorrect birth certificates being issued. I did see someone had a question on how do local authorities how can they verify documents?
How did we know that the birth certificate was wrong in that case?
Because the father was having some of the other documents who could prove that the birth certificate was wrong, because he got to the Union Council where she was actually registered, and then he got those documents from that place to prove that the information stated on her passport is inaccurate.
Thank you. Sabina, you've got your hand up, but if you could just type any questions that you've got into the chat.
I'm struggling to type in the chat. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I've just got a message saying that I can't send messages.
Oh, okay. That's strange. I mean, ask away.
Quick question. All it was is, I was wondering, does Sanjog cover the Azad Kashmir area in terms of families and assessment?
Yeah, we do assessment. We do work in that area as well. But as you have already stated, that there are some of the laws are same, but some are the different. as they have their own probation act, and they have some of their laws. In most of the cases in Pakistan, actually 4 provinces have different kind of laws. Some are federal and some are provincial. So in Azad and Jammu and in Azad, Jammu and Kashmir territory, they have their own laws, and some of the laws which are applicable in other provinces are the same which are applicable in that region as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just really conscious of time. There are a couple of other questions. What we'll do is we'll make a note of them. I'll get some answers from Tabor, Oman and Fiona, and then send them out to you afterwards. But thank you all very much for joining us. And thank you to our partners from Sanjog for joining us as well. And it's been lovely to hear from you all and see you all again. And we'll no doubt be in contact shortly for the next Lunch and Learn that we offer.